Join me on the blank canvas at our new day and time. Mondays at 7 p.m., the NAGB, the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, brings to you the blank canvas, the show where we discuss culture, visual art, and the creative community. Every Monday at 7 p.m., right here on 96.9 Guardian Talk Radio, where there is fresh news and smart talk all day.
You've asked for it, and so I am back. Kendony Campbell Moss with Kenny's Corner. Let's talk about everything that makes your heart jump and makes you want to tingle. The radios are going to be set an absolute blaze. Tuesdays, 6:30, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Kenny's Corner, ladies and gentlemen, Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. Tuesdays at 6:30.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gregory Pinto. Join me every Wednesday for The Urologist Speaks, a brand new talk show here on Guardian Radio. Each week, we'll be discussing an array of health topics related to men, women, and children, such as men always being able to rise again and women regaining control of their bladder, and many, many more. The Urologist Speaks, Wednesdays from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Come and join us every Wednesday night from 7:30 to 9 o'clock at Guardian Radio 96.9. Voices of the Diaspora presents two shows, Straight Talk and People's Voice, with Robertson Girone and Aveje Exome. We educate, inform, and transform. Be sure to listen to the Voices of the Diaspora from 7:30 to 9 p.m. every Wednesday on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're tuned into Guardian Radio 96.9, and this is Guardian Radio Today. I'm your guest host again for a second week. This is Robin Lines, and today I am extra excited. I want to say good afternoon to all of you that are listening, and I want to remind you even now, as we get ready to have a follow-up to our first conversation last week, I want to remind you to text someone, call someone, tell them that we are on the air with a very important topic of conversation as we consider this last day of October, right? This is not only Cancer Awareness Month, it's also Youth Month. And that's one of the reasons why I chose for last week, looking at incest in the Bahamas, a national response, focusing on incest where the survivors are children. And today we're going to talk about child abuse. So I am joined by my friend and sister and business partner, attorney at law, Richette Presenti, and she's going to introduce herself. And also Dr. Kavitari Kaparthi is with us, who's no stranger to the Guardian Radio family. So I'm going to start with Ms. Presenti. Just let the listening audience know a little bit about you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here on the show, even though a learned friend invited me at the last minute. I am Richette Presenti, as she said, attorney at law and Robin's business partner. We have been in business now for over 10 years.
Almost 15 years.
See, I've lost count. It's been
right.
So much fun. So she said 15 years, then 15 years it is. I hail from the beautiful island of Howard Island. And I've been in the practice of the law now for going on 20 years, December 5th. Again, I'm excited to be here and looking forward to this great discussion.
Awesome, awesome. Doc, introduce yourself, please.
Okay, I love how you keep calling me Doc, but
And it's intentional. I'm speaking
it
something.
seems like it. I
That's
should
right.
receive it. I should receive it
Please
because,
do.
well, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kavita Garikaparthi. I am a psychological counselor by profession. The name you will realize is not Bahamian; it is Indian. I'm from Indian origin. But I've been in the Bahamas for 26 years. So,
Wow,
yes.
almost as long as I've been alive.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, so yes, so Bahamas is home. It is home for me, and I have had the privilege of doing a lot of productive work.
Yes.
Especially in the lines that we're going to be talking about today. Would you like me to just add what other things I'm doing? I mean, or would you be talking about that?
Well, we're going to get into it, but I definitely want you to talk a little bit about, especially the partner organization that you work with, especially the crisis center, the prison.
Yes. So I am actually a very active volunteer of the Bahamas Crisis Center since 2007. I am one of their counselors. I assist the center for shows like this,
Yes.
speaking engagements, and individual counseling, group counseling, and Crisis Center basically caters to. We are offering free counseling services to men, women, and children. Men, women, and children.
Yes.
Who are victims of different issues like domestic violence or relationship issues or crisis situations. So we deal with almost a lot of psychological issues that are prevalent, and we work with clients in those regards. I also was a part of Dr. David Allen's outreach program, People Helping People, where for 6 years we went into the prison system and did group therapy for both male and female inmates.
That's great.
Yeah,
That
so
is so good.
that was a very enriching experience, a learning process for us, and just gave a different perspective towards
Absolutely.
life. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so, like I mentioned before, this is a continuation of a conversation that we started last week talking about incest, focusing on the child, and moving now into a more in-depth conversation about child abuse. And I think this is so fitting because, and I know Dr. Garikaparthi is going to get into this a little bit more, and of course, Richette, you chime in, but a lot of times we don't realize that abuse is multifaceted. So when we talk about abuse of a child, automatically people go into their mind to a child being beaten or a child being sexually abused. And whilst that may be some of the most extreme physical cases of child abuse, emotional child abuse, psychological child abuse is so prevalent, and oftentimes because of how we are cultured, it's not even considered abuse. Verbal abuse, the way we talk to our children, and the effects of words and how detrimental they can be to someone's belief and understanding of who they are and who they can become. And then, so I hope we have a really full and frank conversation. I'm glad to have you sisters with me. But of course, my primary co-host is always the listening audience. And so I want you to text in and to call in as we get into this conversation. Mind you that you can stream us live on audio and video. It's guardiantalkradio.com. Or if you're near your television, listen in on Cable Bahamas. It's channel 969. If you have BTC Flow, you're at channel 612. Or download the Guardian Radio app and you can listen from any smart device, whether it's Apple or Android. And of course, text us on the Guardian Radio text line. That's 422-4796. Standard text rates apply, and we thank BTC so much for powering the text line. And you can call us 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or toll free from the Family Islands, it's 242-300-5720. So I'm going to start with you, Doc. I want to talk a little bit about defining child abuse, and if we can talk and introduce some of the various ways a child can be abused as we introduce this part of the topic today.
Thank you so much, Robin, for this topic. It's even though it is talked about much,
yes,
I feel there's still so much more that we can talk
Absolutely.
about. It's creating the awareness, and I think that is one of the main intentions of the Crisis Center, and that is to create awareness nationwide about child abuse.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, every time we talk about child abuse, the first thought is either it's physical, your immediate thought is it's physical.
Yeah.
Not realizing that it is so much more. So child abuse is considered to be any intentional mistreatment on or harm of a child under the age of 18. So it is intentional, and it has its massive ramifications on children, especially being a counselor and sitting with them and listening to them. You realize that we get focused on the physical aspect of it. That is, yes, very, very, very harmful. It has a harmful effects on the child, but let us also focus on the verbal, like you mentioned,
Yes.
the psychological, the emotional ramifications. So when, in fact, in many of the countries, it is considered to be a criminal offense.
That's right.
And child abuse can actually lead to trauma that stays with the person throughout their child. And I know for a fact about this, which I will talk about later. Often it is hindering their emotional and mental growth. And what I meant
Absolutely.
by that is there's so many times I have adults walk into the center or in my practice, and if you look at them physically, they look
fine.
fine. They dress up well. They're, everything is to the T. Their physical appearance is to the T.
Yeah.
And they hold very big positions in the community, and they are managing it well. But when they do enter, and when those doors close, and when they sit and open up, a lot of time they talk about trauma from their childhood. And a lot of their issues that are stemming are from trauma stemming from childhood. And they have never really come to resolution with it. They have never really talked about it, expressed it, and they have grown with that.
Yes.
So the damage is mind-boggling, actually.
And I think that's so important, because even as we look at deviance in the country, as we look at the gang culture in the country, as we look at instances of crime and criminal activity, as we look at the shift, we are not a violent people. Bahamians are not violent, and I say that without fear of contradiction. But over the last decade plus, crimes against the person have gotten increasingly violent, increasingly cruel, right? And so there is this serious deviation from who we used to be, right? What our communities used to be, how we lived with each other. And I enjoy talking to older people about how we once were, from whence we came. And you would hear them talk about ASUs and how, when you get your draw, you had a community coming to help you fix your house. And then next time it'll be Paseni's time, and then it'll be Kavita's time. And we built our lives off of the goodwill of community. And I think we don't understand how much childhood trauma has impacted and continues to impact the kinds reflected today, because no one starts right at the end. You're looking at the...
It's always...
That's right, the prison statistics.
Yep.
You're looking at the amount of arrests. You're looking at juvenile delinquency. You're looking at the rate of AIDS and HIV in that young demographic, 18 and 24. I mean, a lot of these people are dealing with childhood trauma. And I want to get your take, Prasenni, on abuse and this whole topic that we're talking about child abuse. How do you see that from your lens and your experiences?
As you're talking, I'm just thinking of society as a whole.
Yeah.
When you look at individuals and just the way they speak, there's clearly an indication that there's something deeper that leads to the way they think. And so our society as a whole is obviously being impacted by childhood trauma. So for me, I guess, again, when we look at it from the perspective of the adults that we deal with, obviously we have a deeper problem.
Yes, exactly.
I think the main thing that I think we're all trying to agree upon is we're products of our past.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Period. We're
Yeah.
products of our past. How we are brought up,
Yes.
what we are taught, and our experiences, good, bad, and ugly, make us the people that we are. Interestingly, the majority of the clients who come and for counseling sessions, they might have situations going on which they have come to talk about. But when we go deeper into the sessions,
Yes,
it always comes down to some childhood trauma.
the past.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say always, but majority of the time, it comes from something stemming from their childhood that they have never ever resolved in their lifetime. Yeah.
I think that's critical. And I want to delve a little bit into that because one of the things that I am hoping that we do as we have these shows and as we talk about things that are serious, things that are, less serious, but we have full and frank conversation. It can't just be talk that ends with talk. Yeah. And so one of the things I was focused on last week, and I'm going to reiterate some of those things today, is what should be our national response, because our ability to self-diagnose has never been the problem. We know what our problems are. We know what the challenges are that we face. And that volunteering with the Crisis Center since 2007, right? Just about 2 years shy of 20 years of volunteerism, seeing the exact same problems in people, right? And so what we have to look at now is how are we responding to these things, and are we learning anything from what we've seen people go through and the trauma we've seen them experience? How is that shaping and reshaping our intentions? How is that shaping and reshaping how we educate our children and what we include in our curriculums? How is that influencing how we train our first responders in our hospitals and clinics, right? In our police departments. So we have to be seen as a country that is consistently developing and moving toward progressively addressing our problems with a view to eradicating them. I want to talk about that when we come back. When we dig a little deeper, have we done enough? Are we doing enough? We're going to take a break. And I'm going to check the text lines and, of course, bring you into the conversation. We're talking about child abuse in our country. This is National Youth Month. It's October 31st. You're hanging with me. I'm joined by Richette Prasenni and Dr. Garika Parthi. I'm going to keep on saying it. We'll be back after the break.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
This November 1st, 2025, George Street is coming alive once again. Get ready for a street festival like no other, right in the heart of the city. It's a day filled with mouth-watering food, delicious treats, and amazing art and crafts from talented local artists.
And a $10,000 raffle prize.
Feel the rhythm and energy as we bring you the best of Bahamian music, live performances, tons of fun for the whole family. So come for the vibe, stay for the fun. It's all happening November 1st, starting at 10 a.m. on George Street. Mark your calendars now, and let's make it a day to remember. See you there where good times are guaranteed, and you won't want to miss a minute. Brought to you by Christchurch Cathedral. Loss of family members is very isolating, and people who have experienced loss appreciate when others have shared their grief. If you can't be there in person, go to the Nassau Guardian's website online at thenassauguardian.com and visit our obituary link. The Nassau Guardian's interactive obituary link allows you to read the funeral announcement, express condolences, or place photos on the online guest book for 1 full year. Losing a loved one is painful, but that pain isn't the worst thing to happen. Friends, loved ones, colleagues, and neighbors who ignore the loss compound the pain. Should the bereaved family wish to place the obituary and photos on our obituary site, just contact the Guardian's funeral industry partners or the Nassau Guardian. Remember, there isn't one magic right thing to say to someone experiencing loss that will make the loss less painful or easier to bear. The Nassau Guardian's obituary link, available online at thenassauguardian.com. This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Good afternoon, and we are back. This is Guardian Radio 96.9. You're locked and tuned into Guardian Radio today. I'm your guest host. This is Robin D. Lines, and I am joined in studio by my lovely business partner and friend, Richette C. Percenti, hailing all the way from Harbor Island, Eleuthera, and the incomparable, I call her Doctor. It's not official yet, but we're working on it. Dr. Kavita Gary Kaparthi, who is a counselor and avid volunteer with the Crisis Center. We're talking about child abuse in this country. We're talking about the types of abuse. We're talking about what our national response should be to abuse. And then we're going to wrap it up with where we are now as it relates to our interventions. And Doc, I want you to talk, because you touched on it a little bit in the introduction, but I want you now to, if you can, for the benefit of those listening, just talk a little bit about the types of abuse.
Yes.
And we're going to hone our conversation in on those less known types of abuses against children.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. So, like I mentioned, when we talk about abuse, we either or sexual.
Yes.
What is physical abuse? It occurs when a child is subjected to physical violence with the intent to harm or injure the person. Okay? Sexual abuse involves any sexual activity performed with a child. This includes exploitation, exposure to pornography, intercourse, and any related sexual act.
Say that first word again. You said this includes
the physical is
the physical. You talked about pornography, exposure to pornography. What was the
exploitation?
First one? Exploitation.
Exposure to pornography.
When you say exploitation, break that down. What are you talking about?
It is when. So the sad thing, my experience with counseling, a lot of times who end up hurting the child is someone close to you.
Okay.
Yeah. It could be a relative. It could be a close friend. It could be it could be someone known to you.
Someone with access.
Yes. So a lot of manipulation goes into that. If they are sexually exploited or if they are sexually, maneuvered,
yes,
the children are made to feel guilty, as if they're made to feel scared. They are threatened that do not tell anyone. If you tell someone,
yes,
something bad will happen,
absolutely,
or they're not going to believe you. So it's maneuvered.
Yes.
And children are so...
It's the coupling of the psychological abuse.
Right.
In order to engage in
right,
the physical and sexual abuse.
Right.
Yeah.
So a child who's experiencing sexual abuse, once or more than that, are so scared to talk about it. Because they know that there is something wrong being done with them. Some don't. Some do.
Yeah.
And even if they do, they're scared to tell somebody because they're scared that they're not going to be believed. And that is the unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
So looking out for telltale signs in our children and kids around us, not only the children, our children, but when we are in interacting with other children, it's very important to keep an eye out for them as well. And there are some red flags that we need to be aware of, which we'll talk about. So that's what I meant with...
exploitation.
Right.
And those other types?
Emotional abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Now that is so important that we focus on, because we always get limited to those two. Emotional abuse is what happens with this gets, unresolved.
Okay.
So what is it occurs when another person intentionally tries to harm a child's emotional well-being and self-esteem.
Wow.
You're good for nothing. You can't do this.
Just like
You're
your pa.
so dumb. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Statements like that. You're so dumb. You can't do. You're not good at anything. So this constant talking down at children
mm-hmm,
is, and can you believe it? If I today, Robin, keep telling you, if I point a finger at you and with full arrogance say, you have something on your cheek, and I keep saying it to you. I mean, it's a very silly comparison, but what I'm trying to say is, it's how strongly and how with the great conviction that I'm trying to tell you
and
something.
That repetition.
You will end up believing me at some point. You'll
Absolutely.
start doubting yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you talked about that. We have some callers and of course, that's my co-host, our listening audience on the phone line. And so I just want to take one or two of those calls so they can join in on this discussion. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, great show. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Great, man. Great show, and your guests also, right? What your guests fail to mention is they're also economical abuse.
Yes.
You go beg the mother, right?
Yes.
She won't give you none, right? Because we got to speak in vehement terms where people can understand.
That's
You too worthy with your things, right? So now, since a woman ain't won't give you none, right? You ain't buying the Pampers.
Wow.
You ain't buying the formula.
Wow.
That's right. That's economical abuse to the child.
Mm-hmm.
Physical abuse, right? Go get the belt. Right? Go get the slipper. Go get the time restrict, right? We have become soft as a community now. When I say soft, what I mean is our tolerance for punishment is different than it was back in the day. We see it as normal to spank or beat a child, whereas that nowadays people look at it sort of a law. Because I'm sure you get cut before. You can't tell me, how old are you? I'm sure you get beaten before.
No, that's a question,
But nowadays, right, people frown upon it. Yeah, you get cut up before.
No, I get cut up before, and if you asking my age, I'm 25 plus VAT and shipping and handling.
25? Oh, no, you know nothing to beat.
Well, let me add the VAT, though.
You're too young for that. 25? No, man. You get put in the corner. You just born.
No, but you forget the VAT and the shipping and handling. That'll bring it up to a couple more years.
Yeah, man. You just born. You ain't know nothing but the belt. The belt will be on you. And also, right, like you say, there's psychological abuse.
Yes,
right?
yes.
You're just like your ma. You're bad like your ma.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just like your pa. You're so
Oh, Lord, you were doing so good, caller, but we had to cut you because you get so passionate. Something almost slipped. But we have one or two other callers on the line. Mr. Producer, can you take us to another call?
Hello?
Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to
I
you.
think this child abuse, it's a broad paintbrush because, when we look, and I go back to biblical,
Mm-hmm.
children obey your parents in the Lord. Not only your parents that bring forth a child, but anyone that can be your parent. And parents provoke not your children to anger.
Mm-hmm.
The family structure have gone so far from the Bahamas when we used to sit down together and eat as a family to the table.
Wow.
And stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we calling one another, boy, go get this. And the next thing, and children, because they cannot, really don't want to fight back with their parents, they hold in things. They hold in a lot of things, and they grow with these things inside their mind and stuff like that. And then sometimes they see their parents and funny action.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, I don't know how well this will be. Sometimes a parent, a child, when they go to school, so much of things now, they know how a parent's supposed to be a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get to find out their parents is going with the same partner and stuff like that, so it leaves an effect on them also.
It does.
So,
it does.
so we need to touch on all of these things. So because some children, they will not go tell their parents, "Mommy, I think it's wrong what you're doing." They will hold that in and just start disrespecting their parents. Will find, well, why are you disrespecting me? But he know or she know, but they would not say anything yet and stuff like that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Continue to call, continue to text on the line, and we're going to continue with the conversation that we're having. Doc, the caller talked about, and I know you were getting to that economical abuse, and I'm going to ask Ms. Berseni to chime in on it, because I think that is something, and I'm so glad a male caller said that.
Both the men.
Yeah,
I mean, both the men spoke so much
I thought that was
sense.
so
Yes.
profound to come from him, because I have it written on my notes, and I was just showing. I had that to say next, because that has become a very common form of abuse in a society where the majority of households are single-parent households led by women. And a lot of times when you look at the level of pull on our social services support, these are single mothers predominantly and primarily who are taking care of children without the financial support of fathers. And it is not because they are not positioned to assist. And the caller was spot on. When relationships end, when relationships go sour, or when children are a result of these situationships and friendships with benefits, and there's really no real love and affection there, a child is the product of that situation and taken care of. All right, as an attorney with a specialization in family matters, I see it too often. My clients come in, predominantly women, going to the court seeking child support. The court gives an order. He still doesn't pay. He has a warrant against him for the next 5-6 years, as if he's gone to Alcatraz or Jabim, just walking around,
But isn't this what happens to the child?
What happens to the child?
They're slipping through the cracks.
Absolutely.
They're not. They're neglected.
Yes.
They are at a point that they almost need to take care of them, grow themselves up.
That's right.
And do what is needed. No guidance.
Survival. And oftentimes, lack of financial support, the inability of the custodial parent or the primary caregiver to take care of a child leads to a lot of abuse as well, leads to verbal abuse. It leads to physical abuse. I'm frustrated. You crying. I can't feed you. I don't have the money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm taking out my frustration, and my inability to take care of you is being taken out on you. And it's leading now to your further detriment. But Berseni, what are your thoughts on what we're talking about?
I'm just thinking this is such an interesting topic. And when you think about just that one topic alone, not only is it affecting the kids now, it's affecting the family.
The family, yes.
The society. It's affecting everybody.
Yeah.
It's affecting everyone.
Yes.
And then it spills into our society. So now we have community issues. Now we have national issues that have kind of permeated into so many other spheres and spaces of the way we live. And our children are in crisis. We're going to talk more about it. This is Guardian Radio 96.9. This is Guardian Radio Today. I'm your guest host, Robin Lines, again joined by my special guest. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
This November 1st, 2025, George Street is coming alive once again. Get ready for a street festival like no other, right in the heart of the city. It's a day filled with mouth-watering food, delicious treats, and amazing art and crafts from talented local artists.
And a $10 raffle prize.
Feel the rhythm and energy as we bring you the best of Bahamian music, live performances, tons of fun for the whole family. So come for the vibe, stay for the fun. It's all happening George Street. Mark your calendars now, and let's make it a day to remember. See you there where good times are guaranteed, and you won't want to miss a minute. Brought to you by Christchurch Cathedral.
You try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that 567764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we're back. Thank you so much for sticking Guardian Radio 96.9, Guardian Radio Today. You're sitting with me. I'm your host, Robin Lines, and I'm joined by Dr. Kavita Gary Kaparthi and Richette
We should stop calling me that,
Presenti.
but okay.
I can't stop calling you Doc. I'm going to speak it into existence, and I want to get a portion of your first doctor's paycheck.
Oh, my God.
That's how I feel. We're talking about childbirth is National Youth Month. And so we thought it so fitting to kind of expound on this topic a bit as we look at issues affecting our children and therefore affecting our nation. There are a few callers on the line, Dr. Ms. Presenti, so I want to get to those callers and really allow them to chime in. Caller, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Ms. Lyons.
To you.
You know, I had 22 years at this, trying to get to address this issue concerning child abuse. In the first 40 months of our advocacy, we were able to get the Child Protection Act passed in Parliament, even though it's flawed. I keep repeating, it is flawed. You have two attorneys in the room. When you look at what we sign on to internationally, which is the Geneva Convention, which speaks to the rights of the child, and you compare the Child Protection Act with that, according to one of the articles in the Geneva Convention, it states that whenever laws are applicable to those rights in the convention, only the highest standard shall prevail. And I must concede, the Child Protection Act is of lesser standard. And, I mean, you two attorneys, according to what I understand, lawyers are supposed to be advocates and, you know, to address situations like this. But if you would look at the Child Protection Act, look at the Geneva Convention, and perhaps you all can advocate to correct the deficiencies protected.
Yes.
I don't know why it's so hard. 22 years, and we can't get this. We're still hearing these conversations like it was 22 years ago. I mean, it's just unbelievable how we behave in the Bahamas concerning children. Yes, October is Child Protection Month, but look about it. But how many other persons talk anything about Child Abuse Month in the month of October?
Well, I appreciate you, caller. Thank you so much. Doc, we're going to take another call. Call, are you there?
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Madam, let me tell you here, as the host of this show, you have a breath of fresh air in the person of Miss Robin Langs on your show today.
Well, I appreciate you. That's kind of you.
Madam, that lady...
Are you talking to me? This is me. I'm the lady.
Is this Robin? You hosting the show?
I am hosting the show, yeah.
Wow, this is Julian Ferguson.
Hi, Julian. How are you, my love?
Listen to me, Miss Langs.
Now, don't tell nobody we in love like that on no live radio, Julian. Be discreet now. This is my good. Julian from Nassau Village, man.
Yes,
listen,
ma'am.
He lost his sight, but not his swagger. I tell you that.
No. But let me say something, Ms. Lang.
Yes, sir.
I heard somebody was saying something about going to court and find a father for 4 and 5 years and things.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to be very quick with my story.
Mm-hmm.
I had a situation.
Now you got to be quick now, Julian.
Yeah, I can be real quick with this lady. And let me put it short. This lady ended up taking me to court to take care of this little boy. And I told her about it. So I could call his name now because he's dead, Mr. Gomez. I said, Mom, Mr. Gomez, I'd want to do a DNA test. He ordered us to do a DNA test. The first time, she never showed up. The second time, she never showed up. So I think that the money to the court just to get her attention so she could get back to the court.
Wow.
Now I had the money, you know. If you tell me I needed to bring all that money there, I had that money. I just was putting it up just so in case spend time to go back to court.
Mm-hmm.
And, come to find out, this little boy was already about 12. When he died, he was about 27.
He died? Wow, my condolences.
Yeah, he got shot. I was the she died, and a mommy who was pushing the thing is now dead. And that always make me say, touch not God anointed.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying to this, when he died at the age of 27, after doing the DNA test, I've never told him that I wasn't his father.
Oh, wow.
So I'm the only father he knows.
Yeah.
And I could make a big kahoo about it, but I said because of his sake. Now his mom knew, and our mother knew, but because of him, I decided just to keep it as a, and I just continue taking care of him.
Wow.
So we still have some, if it ain't all good, some.
Oh, we absolutely do, and I'm going to touch that.
So let's not just try and beat
You're right.
the man down every chance we have.
No. It wasn't a beat down. We're just talking really about what we see predominantly, but I have something for you, though.
Talk about, I got to go on this one. I like the Baptist preacher. This is the last one I got.
You got listen, there's 30 seconds, Julian. We got some other callers on the air.
They talk about single parents to women.
Yes.
My wife died when my son was 11. My son was with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
She died when he's 11. He's 21. And he never lived with another family member other than me.
That's right.
I never had to go to court for him, never had to go to school for him, never had to go nowhere for her.
You did well. Thank you so much, Julian. I appreciate you. We're going to take another caller. Caller, are you there? Caller, you live. All right, I think we might have missed that one. Julian take up his time and theirs, but I don't want him to think that we did not consider what he was talking about. And when we talked about financial abuse, lack of financial support, that's a common thing. We have so many people who haven't gone to court, who haven't taken the route of trying to acquire from a parent, and I'll say a parent, I wouldn't even say just father, but a parent who's not doing what they're supposed to do for their child, and that other parent just taking on the burden
of it. Yeah.
taking on the responsibility. And you'll hear parents say, because my mother said it, right? I was raised in a single parent home, born to a father that did not want me, did not acknowledge me. I had a mother who was willing, right? And not because she felt burdened by it, but because she felt responsible to do it in love, to make sure that my needs were met and that of my siblings were met. then I didn't grow up with any deficiencies, because she worked to ensure that I didn't. But I also want to talk about the flip side of that financial support. And perhaps we have not seen it in the context of child abuse, but parental alienation. Because in the same way, and when I say mothers and fathers, please, I'm not saying that every situation is like this. I'm just talking about the primary experiences that I've had. But parental alienation is a serious thing.
It is.
I've known mothers who, when fathers remarry, or he gets a girlfriend, or he moves on with his life, if he loves that child, I have sold that child from him.
Exactly.
You don't call her, don't call him, don't pick him up, and using the child to inflict emotional
So it's
harm on
almost
the
like
father.
manipulation.
Yeah. It's manipulation, but that is abusive.
It is.
Why? Because in the definition of abuse that we're working with, it's intentional mistreatment of a child. If you keep a child from a parent who loves them and whom they love, you are abusing your child. And I'm talking to someone. I hope someone is listening, because children are not pawns. They are not toys. They're not props to be used when you want to prove a point. They are people. They have feelings. They are lives that are becoming and being groomed. And when they are used in that way, mistreated in that way, when their relationship with parents who love them are damaged in that way, the psychological abuse, the emotional abuse, the trauma is real.
It is.
Even mothers who lie and say that fathers have done ill to children when it's not true.
Again, manipulation.
Fathers who've said that mothers have done ill to children, that's not true. We're talking about abuse in all its forms, all of its faces, all of break news is at the top of this hour. The producer was right, time goes too fast. I have to tell him I need a 10-hour show. I got all kind of talk and no time to do it. But listen, stick and stay. News is on the way. When we come back, we're going to talk about the effects and the impact of abuse on children. And then we're going to end with a little bit about what should be our national response. We're not just talking problems, we're talking solutions. This is Guardian Radio with Robin Lyons. We'll be right back.
This is Guardian Radio FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we are back. Thank you so much for sticking and staying with me through the news break. I hope you were informed about what's happening in the country, what's happening in the world. As you know, this is Guardian Radio 96.9, and you're tuned into Guardian Radio Today with me, your host, Robin Lyons. I just want to remind you, please stream live on GuardianTalkRadio.com. Listen on TV, Cable Bahamas 9612. Download the Guardian Radio app. You can listen there on your smart devices. or join the conversation in real time by texting us to 4796 or calling in 323-6232, 325-4316-59, or toll free, and that means at no long distance charges, okay, Family Island listeners? It's 242-300-5720. And right before we took a break, we were talking about and delving into the types of abuse and unsuspecting types of abuse that are common, but a lot of times not identified as abuse against children. Lack of financial support, intentional withholding support, parental alienation, using children as a means to try to hurt the parent and thereby hurting the child through those broken and spiteful relationships and actions. And now I want us to get into, as we talk, a little bit about the impact. What is this doing to the child? What is this doing to the child? We're going to start with you, Doc, and then we'll move to Ms. Presenti and what's being said by texters.
Okay. As I mentioned, abuse is usually carried by people close.
Yes.
Close to and trusted by a child, right? So that brings in, that kind of makes a child most of the time stay silent because they're confused. And they feel guilty knowing that they feel that no one's going to believe what they're saying.
Yes.
So they continue to bear it alone.
Wow.
And then just imagine the emotional and the psychological ramifications. Which brings to certain red flags that we all need to be aware of when we are dealing with children, when we are surrounded by children. You know, it doesn't always have to be.
Right.
But, it takes a village.
That's right.
Kind of.
Our community.
Yes, our community. Just have that general awareness about what are things that we need to look out for in children. Depression and anxiety, a loss of self-confidence. These are, I can break it down. Withdrawal from usual activities and friends. These are red flags. Displaying more aggressive and moody behavior. Some of them become even more aggressive because they're not able to express themselves. They end up getting into a lot more fights with other children.
And we talked about that because I cannot attack my abuser. So let me attack someone that's more vulnerable than I am. Absolutely.
The bullying part comes into it.
Absolutely.
Self-harm, the sad part, the self-harm or suicide attempts, being absent from school, not wanting to go back home, rebellious behavior. These are all, some of it to some level we can say it's part of growing up. But then when you see a pattern, then you have to be aware that there is something more to this. About signs of physical abuse, it's like the unexplained injuries and bruises. They are lying about the cause of the injuries. Oh, I bucked into something, I fell. Again, that feeling of shame, not wanting to talk about who did this to them. Signs of sexual abuse, engaging in inappropriate sexual contact with other children.
Wow.
That's one thing we have dealt with those cases. Sudden pregnancies, those are signs that they haven't talked about it to anyone and then suddenly you become aware of it. Emotional abuse, signs of delayed optimal development. I think that's a lot of children sometimes have a very disinterested, and again, like I'm saying, the certain level is acceptable. Nowadays, every other child is, if they're not doing something that they like, they are disinterested. But I'm not getting into that. But there is that delayed emotional development.
At abnormal levels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depression, like I already mentioned, lack of confidence, low self-esteem, avoidance of certain situations, social withdrawal, drop in academic performance. All of these are certain, especially if there's a pattern to it, and if it's a combination of things that I have mentioned that you're witnessing in the child, then there is definitely
something is wrong.
You can always go and talk to your child about it or talk to the child that you feel concerned about.
I want to stick a pin there, Doc, and ask a question because what we're talking about is comparative. So if you know how a child used to be, it's easier to detect the changes. A happy child is now depressed.
Right.
An extroverted child is now introverted. A quiet, a child that is engaged and conversational is now frightened and jumpy and has a lot of angst and anxiety. But what about where children are at the age where a lot of their personality has not yet developed, right? So you don't know how they are. Because abuse can happen from infancy.
Absolutely.
So beyond the physical, are there any telltale signs from very young children that caretakers, that guardians, that loved ones should look out for?
Children are like sponges. They soak in. What I mean by that is they soak in love when they see it, and they soak in fear when they feel it.
Absolutely.
So we have to be, even young kids who are, young children who are may not be able to word what they are thinking, and they're not able to express themselves. Their actions sometimes will be so indicative of something that they're going through. Sometimes I hear from a mother who would have brought in a child who might be 3-4 years old, and say, she usually is so bubbly and, she'll be enjoying herself, but now she sits to a corner. Every time I'm approaching her, she shirks away and she's, covers herself. So that child is trying to tell you something.
Yes.
So we have to be able to have a little more awareness about these things. I know we've talked about this repetitively, but I think it's important that we keep talking about it, because someone out there needs to hear this.
Yes.
Someone out there needs to know that, these are signs that we need to keep a lookout on. And the basic motive behind all of this, all what we are doing right now, Robin, is to create awareness.
To create awareness.
And make sure no kid slips under through the cracks.
Exactly. And Putsani, you had an interesting question. I think this is a good time to segue into that.
Yeah, so my question was along the lines of the definition given earlier about the intent to harm. What happens where there is no intent or it's unintentional? How do you then determine if it's abuse or not?
Would you be able to elaborate on that?
So I guess I'm thinking more, so intention would be more when you look, for example, at the neglect or the
physical abuse.
The physical abuse, the financial abuse that you've mentioned. What about the abuse that happens, say, for example, from a spiritual standpoint? Because everything is spiritual. Yep. Wouldn't that be considered unintentional because it happens as a result of another form of abuse?
Yeah. And I think it delves into what we were talking about when we talked about us being a product of our own lifetime experiences.
So if you've not resolved your own issues,
right,
you are projecting that on your children. Others. Intentionally or not
unintentionally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And see, not only that, if no one has identified what happened to you as abuse.
Exactly.
You see, you have to know that what happened to you was not okay.
Yes.
So if we're talking about the manipulation, if we're talking about the grooming, if we're talking about the psychological convincing that this is okay, and if you think it's not okay, then it's your fault. Whatever protects the abuser, whatever protects the perpetrator, the pedophile, however you want to classify that individual, then if I am in a situation where I'm abusing my child by any means, but I don't even understand it, right? A lot of times, particularly when it comes to verbal abuse, and you talk about the spiritual underlying impact, words are powerful.
Absolutely.
Right? Words carry life and death in them. So when you tell your child they are stupid, and it may be something that they've done and you just slap them, get your stupid self, your ugly self, your dumb self, your this self, your that self. All of these negative reinforcements in their psyche from the first person they have ever loved. And that is what makes it so impactful. That's what makes it so profound, because as a parent, you are your child's first love, first interaction. And that is why parents are like your earthly God. They open their mouth and they speak and decree things over you. And so many of us are living manifestations of what our parents said and believed we could be. I know I am. But I was blessed to have a mother who believed I could be all things.
Yes.
Told me I could be all things, invested in me being all things, spent her money on me being whatever it was. And the reverse is also true. And who doesn't believe in you, doesn't speak life over you, doesn't give you words of affirmation, doesn't lift you up. Even when you make a mistake, even when you do something wrong, what your parent, your loved one, your guardian says next can be the difference between changing and shifting course and trajectory, or kind of delving even deeper into deviant behavior, because you're rebelling against what? That feeling of rejection. We're talking about abuse in all of its forms. I want to go to the phone lines. I know that callers have been lighting it up, and I'm always excited to hear from them. So caller, are you there?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good afternoon.
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I heard you guys talking about parents that withhold a child from the other parent.
Yes, parental alienation.
I've had that experience.
Wow.
And the crazy thing about that is I have friends right now who's going through the exact same thing. Once you move on, they know you love your child, so what they do is they withhold that child as pawn. All right? You don't get to see them when you want to. And, yeah, so what I think needs to change, because I had to go to Supreme Court. I had to hire a lawyer when the mother can just go to a regular court and file. I had to go to Supreme Court, hire a lawyer, take her to court to see my child.
Wow.
That's crazy. And I have friends right now who's going through the same thing. I guide them through what I had to do. It just doesn't make sense. At the end of the day, the only persons who hurt are the kids.
Child. Yeah. And we're talking about
that.
That's
why,
abuse.
Why withhold the child from their parent? Because, I moved out of my house. I gave up my house just for my child's sake. I just moved out. I started staying in the next room. It was still a rah. I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. For the kids' sanity and mine, just do what you want. I'm not going to be a part of it. And I had to go through Supreme Court on a whole lot. But we need to fix that where it's easier for men to have access to their kids. It is like almost everything is set up for the women, where we do have some guys who don't do their part.
Yes.
Let me be straight with that.
But there are those who do, like you.
Exactly. There are guys who really love their kids. And if you guys don't feel love from a father, when we love our kids, we love our kids. And there's nothing come before our kids.
Wow.
And you have women out here who just holding these kids as pawn, and they're hurting these kids.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Thank you so much for sharing your story. We're going to take another call. Caller, are you there?
Yes, hello. I heard you talk about a lot of abuses, but I didn't remember hearing you mention about same-sex marriage abuse and these people.
Now, caller, I can't hear you. You're a little distorted. I don't know if it's your phone line or what, but try to see if you can call me back, because I'm only getting some static and feedback, okay? We're going to try to take another call. Caller, are you there?
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Thank God for life. You said that's Doc and Mr. Passani in there.
That's Doc and Miss Percenti. Yes.
Oh, Miss Passani. So you have two women in there.
I got all the girls in the studio today.
Okay, Miss, I didn't misunderstand. All I think about Passani,
That's Lutra. Harbor Island strong. Don't get us started with that now.
You say Curran or Harbor?
Harbor Island.
Okay, let me move on fast. I'm getting called by 3 times, gone and do. But I know it's important. I think it was last week or week before last I hear Miss Robert Lyons hosting the show. I say, how could I afford to miss that?
How could you miss it? Don't miss it. You miss it, you diss it.
Politically, and listening to you now sound like even some of the things that you say you fight for children, rights and stuff.
I do.
Okay, that's good. So that's another connection. I'm a fan
often know you. My name is Glenn Shannon.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to say it if it offends in any way, but that's just in my mind. But to talk about what you're talking about, Miss Lyons, I wish I could reach out to you though. I wish you had an office number or something.
Well, what I can do is I can give you the call for the studio, all right? Give you the number for the studio. You reach the producer, and he'll find a way, okay? And you already know it because you called it, so 323-6232. But we want to talk about people who are talking about child abuse today because we don't have a lot of time. Caller, are you there?
Yes. I
Hi.
just wanted to talk about the conversation.
Yes.
I know you had a caller just now discussing what he has to go through to access to his child in the court.
Yes.
And you mentioned parental alienation as well. I think these are conversations that need to happen because there are many fathers out there who are fighting for access.
Yes, they really are. I know. I
I'm one of
represent
them.
quite a few as well. Yeah.
It's very for the courts to intervene and hold mothers accountable as it relates to fathers having access to their children. And I don't understand why. You talk about parental alienation. I'm dealing with an international case. My daughter was abducted.
Or taken out of the jurisdiction. So
Taken
you've
out of
actually
the
had to
jurisdiction.
invoke the Hague Convention.
I'd have a conversation with you off air in reference to that.
Yeah. We gotta continue to engage in this conversation of abuse. You had any final thoughts? Oh, our caller's gone. Can we take another caller? Caller, are you on the line? Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Okay, I didn't know you can cut me so fast. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
With the children's situation, right? Is that a saying, or is it any truth to it, or that's just a old saying we saying mothers know best? Mothers know best. And with the courts, them, right? I listen. I know you sound like you was being caught a lot too. There was a case lately where a father must beat a child, and the child going to school, and the guidance counselor or the teacher see some marks on the hand and ask him what happened. The father was charged, brought in the front of the court. Maybe you could bring us up to date with it because the one was before that with Miss Bo Evans, you know that judge, Bo Evans or something like that.
Bodavo or Voight Evans, Magistrate Voight
Okay,
Evans.
I don't know. I just asking if you can be correct. I mean, say it the right way. Well, the lady, what she did with the case there, and that was 3-4 months ago, and it was right on the radio where all of us could comment. And a lot of people comment say she did it. We feel like she did it the right way.
What are your thoughts? You thought she did it the right way?
Huh?
You thought? What is your comment on it? You think
like
it didn't happen,
Miss
right?
Bo Evans, the Caroline,
Mm-hmm.
how she to deal with the case. This what happened. I paraphrasing. She they call it slap on the wrist, but she hugged and prayed with the parents, the mother, the child, and the daddy, and he was in charge or sent to jail or nothing. She talked to him and counseled him and asked him that he just going about the wrong way. Where the teacher was saying he ain't doing good in school, his grades dropping, he must he ain't doing any homework, and he thought he was doing everything, and he's allowing him to play the PlayStation on all the school breaks and stuff like that, and he must scold him or must he punish him or something like that. And Miss Bo Evans, she prayed with the mother, the father. I don't know if the mother was living together or whatever, but she prayed with them, and she told him to go forward, I guess, and
do
do
better. Well, I appreciate you, caller. Thank you for sharing that story. I have a lot of, it seemed a couple of questions about abuse and access and parental alienation, and I'm definitely going to carve out a show that talks about children and the law. Children and the law. We're going to talk about the Child Protection Act and all of that. But today we're focusing on abuse. It's so easy for us to delve into so many aspects of this conversation because it's big, it's wide, it's huge. When we come back, we're going to talk about the national response. What are we doing as a country? What can we do better? Do we even have the machinations, the mechanisms, the systems in place to deal with with the crisis that's on our hands? When we take children out of homes, where are we putting them? The Ranfurly home is oversubscribed. The Nazarene house is closed. What are we doing as a country? Are we doing enough? We're going to take a break. Don't you go anywhere. Keep it locked. This is Guardian Talk Radio with Robin Lyons.
Don't wait for a storm to arrive. Stock up on hurricane supplies, make home repairs, purchase a generator, and more this hurricane season with a Fidelity personal loan. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
This November 1st, 2025, George Street is coming alive once again. Get ready for a street festival like no other, right in the heart of the city. It's a day filled with mouth-watering food, delicious treats, and amazing art and crafts from talented local artists.
And a $10,000 raffle prize.
Feel the rhythm and energy as we bring you the best of Bahamian music, live performance and fun for the whole family. So come for the vibe, stay for the fun. It's all happening November 1st, starting at 10 a.m. on George Street. Mark your calendars now, and let's make it a day to remember. See you there where good times are guaranteed, and you won't want to miss a minute. Brought to you by Christ Church Cathedral. This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking with us. It's been such a great conversation so far. And like I said, it's National Youth Month, and I thought it more than fitting for us to talk about our babies, the nation's children, and matters affecting them, including abuse of the future of our country. And I've been sitting and having a wonderful conversation with you as you've been calling in and texting. And I've been joined by my business partner and friend, Attorney Richette Presenti, and counselor, crisis center and prison volunteer, and just an overall great human being, Dr. Kavita Gary Kaparthi. And we're going to get into now, as we've talked about the definition of abuse, a working definition that we've used to kind of anchor this conversation. We've talked about the types of abuse. We've talked about the varying ways that those abuses manifest intentionally, and as Richette so ably mentioned, unintentionally, just from a lack of knowledge and understanding of what is happening, right? And so now I want to talk a little bit about what we need to be doing. And last week, I touched on some response mechanisms that I think need to be put in place. And where they are already in place, they need to be reinforced, they need to be strengthened, and we really need to put some resources behind their sustainability and effective execution. So one of the things I talked about is detection and reporting systems. A lot of times in our country, we just lack access to vital statistics.
Yes.
You know, where do I go to find out what is what and how much is what and when it's happening and when it's occurring? We need to have better detecting and reporting systems. So when a child, and we're going to talk about this perhaps at a later time, but this mandatory that's in the Child Protection Act, if you suspect the abuse of a child, you don't get to go home and sleep on it and think about it and say, I want to get in their business. And, 6 months out of the year, I mind my business. The other 6 months, I stay out of people's business. When it comes to children, they're our business.
Absolutely.
All right. And it's a mandatory, meaning without choice, your feelings about it don't matter. If you suspect it, report it. Teachers, healthcare workers, clergy, social workers, us, as people, we have an obligation and a responsibility to sound the alarm. So that's one of the things that I spoke about, and I hope you sisters can chime into that. And also the schools. Remember, we talked about changing our curriculum to reflect the current state of affairs. So you have to build in time to talk about conflict resolution, to talk about abuse, to talk about and educate our children about what is okay and what is safe for their person. You see what I'm saying? And whilst that is, it's already a lot that we're putting on teachers, we also need to reinforce and shore up our human resources. A lot of times in our schools, our counselors are insufficient, right? So you have sometimes 1 or 2 counselors to a school of 5, 6, 7, 800 children. When are they reasonably going to get the time to talk to these children and to build that relationship of trust that opens the door for honesty and truth? Because like Doc said, there's a grooming process that happens. There's a manipulation that happens. There's a psychological influence that is going on. So it's not just that that abuse is happening to you. You're being made to feel locked in. You're being made to feel as though there is no end to it. And if you say something or do something, even greater harm could come to you or someone else that you love.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about those two, detection and reporting and education. Are we infusing sufficiently what we need at the school level?
So I'm going to chip in here. You're right. We cannot put the entire burden on the teachers, right?
Yeah.
I think they have enough on their plate and they're doing the best they can. I'm going to talk about what the Crisis Center has been doing. And we've been doing this over the years. What we've launched program of early intervention.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is a lot of times when mothers come in a case of domestic violence and, you know, she's finally picked up the courage and come to talk to somebody, children come along with the mother. So now we are trying to, while the mother is getting her share of counseling, we are making sure that the children are also being heard because the children have a voice. And it's just that they never, a lot of times, they don't have the safe space.
That's it.
Safe space to talk about it.
Yes.
So we are trying to provide that. So we are doing that where we are trying to create an awareness in children like these are things that you should be careful about. Mm-hmm. Do not hesitate to talk to your adult, to your guardian, to your mother, to your father. Talk to someone, whoever you trust, try and talk to them. So this is something we are trying to incorporate. Then so coming up in November, there is it's an annual event. It's a 16 days of activism that we are part of, where there's going to be extra emphasis on launching a campaign on to create an awareness for the country about sexual abuse.
Yes.
Sexual abuse, what it is, what are the ramifications.
Yeah. And we're definitely going to get into that. We're talking about that too.
Yeah. So,
not today, but yes.
Yeah, but so there's going to be a 16 days of activism where all this is going to be dealt upon. So this is creating awareness more and more. And I must say, in my almost 20 years of volunteering and practicing as a counselor, there is awareness. I'm not saying that we're still stuck there. I feel there is awareness. The fact that men have called today and they are all speaking so honestly, it really says a lot. And we need to appreciate all the men who called in today, who all chipped in, who shared their story as well, to clearly say that, men hurt too. Men can be victims too.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So coming back to what the Crisis Center, we're also going to have a supplement to that is going to focus on sexual abuse, emphasize on that. We're going to be doing that. And then we have already, this is one such thing, we are launching a campaign where we have speakers available to talk to church groups, women groups, community groups about child sexual abuse, about abuse and what you need to know about it. So we are doing that as well. This is one such form. Thanks to you, Ms. Lyons, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you're here.
No, I'm able to speak on behalf of the Crisis Center as to how dire a necessity this is.
This is, absolutely.
And then there is, in fact, one Protection from Violence Act that was passed in 2023.
Yes.
It's called for the establishment of a commission where basically you know how we can't work in silo.
No.
We have to work together.
Yeah, like an
umbrella
umbrella organization.
So all the departments have to come together. All the, agencies have to come together and think of it in a unified way to make it more effective. These are a few that I would have liked to mention.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. And I am excited about next month and what we can get into and what we can talk about as we try to focus on solution-driven conversation, not just talking for talking's sake. But I want to hear from you, Paseni, about the detection and reporting, if you have anything to add. And what do you think about the education?
Because, again, we're not just here to talk,
Yeah.
but to find solutions. I'm familiar with a group, Journeys International. Have you heard of it?
I have.
Journeys International is founded by a very great educator, teacher, Desiree Taylor. It's a program for inner city kids. And actually, I sponsor that organization quite frequently.
Mm-hmm. You don't sponsor me, but okay. Talk about that later.
Well, I know Desiree. I know her heart. Mm-hmm. She really has a passion for the kids, and she's seen firsthand how kids are affected by these things that we're discussing. And so I've been happy to sponsor that organization and would be willing to do with any other organization that's willing to help with kids, because I know that it's not something that I can do directly. So one of the ways that we can help is those of us who have access to funding give to the organizations, because these things can't be done without monies. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the society that you're a part of and how many of them work voluntarily.
Everyone works voluntarily. That's the beauty of Crisis Center.
I've never understood how that works.
Oh, that works so well.
But imagine if you had more people that were working by salary.
Yeah.
As opposed to just volunteering.
Yeah.
You'd have more people to do the job.
But the beauty about it, Ms. Pasenti, is it is the volunteers that we have, so passionate. I think they take it as a calling. I think we all look at it as a calling, and we put our heart and soul into it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I love it. I love what I'm doing.
But it wouldn't hurt to give you some resources.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. It never hurts at all.
It wouldn't hurt to give you some
helps.
resources.
It definitely helps.
And someone is listening, right? And thinking to themselves, I wish I could do more.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I wish I could help more. I wish I had more time. But guess what? Where you don't have time, maybe you have the resources.
Yes.
So that you can support someone who has the time.
Absolutely.
We're not all going to be called to do the work, but let's support the work. When people are doing good, when they're doing what's right, let's rally behind them in whatever
and it's so
ways
encouraging.
we can. Absolutely.
It's so encouraging when you're acknowledged.
That's it.
When you're told
That's
that,
it.
okay, this is good what you're doing. Let's help you with this.
Absolutely.
It just gives you more, gusto to keep doing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So let's share our resources. Let's share the resource of our experience.
Absolutely.
This is not the time to be quiet, to be silent, to be ashamed, to be, to be afraid to express what you survived. Your survival, you have a debt to pay. God didn't bring you through what you came through just to live, but to save someone else. What you went through took somebody else out. What you experienced in your childhood trauma, someone did not get to talk about it because they did not live. And I want to share something that is deeply personal, but so true for me. And that's why, family law was something that I wanted to get my master's degree in. I didn't want to take the counseling route. I wanted to take the advocacy route because from I was about 13 months, I was talking. So obviously, talking was in my genetics somehow. But when I was about 3 years old, and I hope my sister is listening, and if anyone knows my one and only, call her and tell her I'm going to talk about her. But when I was 3 years old, my mom used to take me and my sister to someone that was just like our auntie. She was so loving, so kind, and just an extended family member. She had a husband, and When I was 3 years old, 3 or 4, I can't remember my age, he gave my sister and some of the other children, his children, some money, told them to go get some macaroni or, because there was a little shop across the street, get tarts and buy things. And I stayed in the house. He kept me in the house. And I hope that this isn't triggering for anyone. But that big grown man, and I remember I was 3, took off my underpants, took off my pants, and put Vaseline on my private parts and stood over me with his pants down. I know in my adulthood, I know in my maturity what he intended to do to me. At 3 years old, I had no idea. I had no fear because I had no understanding. But all of a sudden, I remember this. He put my clothes back on, didn't even touch me. He put my clothes back on and he told me go outside. I was 33 years old or 34 years old when my sister told me the other side of that story. Because we had told our aunt what had happened. Because I told my sister, in such an innocence, I say, sister, he take my pants off. And she told my adopted aunt at the time, and they said that I was tired or maybe I didn't know what I was saying, and they sent us home. And they mistreated my sister for saying what had happened to me. And I had no idea that they had mistreated her from that point on. But the reason why I'm here today on the radio talking to you is because even though he gave her money and told her to go buy something, even though he told her to go play, at 7 years old, she said, I won't go without my sister. And she kept knocking on that door. And you had to excuse me, it tears me up because it saved me. I would not have survived it. But she knocked on that door relentlessly. Where is my sister? Let her out. Let her come to me. And so this is what advocacy is. It is somebody on the outside of a door who knows that where you are is not where you're supposed to be, knocking relentlessly and telling the person on the inside, let her out, let him out, let them go. And that's why we have to be so relentless in our pursuit to talk about these things, to bring awareness, to bring resolution, to be uncomfortable, to put ourselves in a seat where we don't talk about the things we really do want to talk about. We talk about the things we need to talk about. So at 7 years old, where is my sister? Let her out. It saved my life. I need to pay it forward. We're going to take a break. I think right here is a good time. I don't want to cry on Guardian Radio, but I want to say to my sister, I love you. Thank you for knocking on that door for me. We're going to take a break. We got to knock on some doors.
Beulah, gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood.
We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too?
Of course we can.
But we could be in deep trouble if they find out.
We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami.
So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles.
Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal.
So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we're back. It got a little emotional for me, but I believe that honesty and sincerity is the only way we can approach a problem that we're trying to solve.
I want to say something. I really, really appreciate you. You need not have shared that story, but you did.
Oh, I had to.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
And because I know whoever heard this might have wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
They needed this.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate what you did. That was very brave of you. And all I can say is respect.
Yeah, God is so faithful. Because like I said, I would not have survived had he done what he wanted to do. But this is why conversation is so important, because we need to understand our responsibility. When they talk about it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to save one too. It takes a village to protect one.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a village to surround one and give them what they need, even after they've experienced something that they may think is their end. They may think is all that they can be. But, I want to give you sisters, because we only have a few minutes left. I wish we could go back to the call lines, but we're out of time, certainly not out of talk. But in the last few minutes, Dr. Garika Parthi, is there anything that you want to say as we close out?
I was going to point to Ms. Vicente, because in our break, she said something so powerful. I feel you should share that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what and excuse me that I've been so brief in my statements. It is a topic that I'm also learning. But as I listen, I keep thinking about the fact that child abuse doesn't just hurt.
Yeah.
It hijacks a person's destiny.
Wow.
It basically silences that person.
Yes, it
And
does.
so now what it does, it affects the whole person. As you've shared, the effects are multiple.
Multiple, yes.
And that is what we need to really look at, I think, a little bit further. And on that note, what I was also mentioning was, I think as an attorney now, yes, I've mentioned I donate to an organization. I think it's also incumbent on me, knowing what I know, to try and do something from the legal side.
Wow.
So I think Lines and I will look at trying to come up with some white paper or some sort of action
some
plan.
legislative suggestions.
Yes.
And look at the law as it currently stands.
Even as simple
what can
as
we do to
like
amend?
I would like to. I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah,
cutting
of
you
course,
both,
no problem.
but this is something from my perspective, like a simple outline.
Yeah.
For child advocacy, like
Absolutely.
when a child is going into court, what are certain things that your child needs to be prepared for? Those kind of things in simple language, broken down, in the simplest of language. Can you imagine how much of a benefit that would be?
That would help
to,
greatly.
to create clarity.
Yes.
Yeah.
For a parent, for a child to understand.
Yeah.
So that is something. I mean, this is so powerful right here. You know, if I'm dealing with the psychological aspect, here you are educating children and people about what are the rights that are out there for children.
Yes.
What are things that are there to protect the child? So those kind of things, these are powerful things happening right here, right now.
Right here, right now. Any final?
No, I think, again, taking steps.
Yeah.
Because we can't just talk. And I know there's been a lot of talk. You heard the callers mention how much talk there's been.
Yeah.
The gentleman that mentioned the act, for example, I definitely want to, Lines and I are going to take on that task of looking at the act and seeing how we can improve it.
Absolutely.
Maybe if that caller is still listening, he can get in touch with the radio station here and see how we can collaborate.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely the time to take action and not talk anymore.
Yeah. Any final words, Doc?
No, I appreciate this platform. I appreciate any time I'm talking about issues that are prevalent in the community, in the country, that are causing a hindrance in the further growth. So it is such a privilege that as a volunteer of the Crisis Center, seeing one-on-one the kind of situations that people actually go through,
yes,
don't have the voice to do so, we are being given that opportunity.
That's
so
it.
I think I count this as a blessing. I appreciate you for this opportunity.
We'll definitely be back again to talk some more.
God's willing, yes.
I'm so grateful to the two of you for being here, and for the listening audience for sticking and staying. Thank you to Dwight Strawn and the entire team of Guardian Radio for even giving me this opportunity, to have these kinds of conversations unfiltered, undirected. They just trust me to talk something to be impactful and empowering to the listeners. And, I want to say to mothers and fathers that may be listening, guardians, persons in close proximity to children whose actions and words affect them in any way, you just don't know who you've birthed. You just don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know who that is and who or she is destined to become. Be a light, be guidance, be someone that propels and expedite the goodness that they could be. Don't be a hindrance to their destiny, because then you would find yourself on the wrong side of the thoughts of God, right? So we have to love, we have to nurture, we have to protect our children, and we have to speak life over them. And to a child that's listening, driving in the car, right? Listening to the radio at home under the sound of my voice, I don't mind what they've said to you and what they've done to you. If it has been negative, if it has been something that does anything but lift you up, empower you, and bring you joy and happiness, you have to reject it. And don't be afraid to talk to someone about what you're feeling, about what you are going through, about what you are experiencing. Find someone that you trust, whether that's someone at home, whether that's a family friend that doesn't live with you, but you can have access to them, whether it's in school, whether it's in church. Even if you call the radio show and you say, I need some help, I need someone to talk to, those lines are 325-4259, 325-4316, 323-623, because you are worthy of intervention. You are worthy of someone saying to who's hurting you, we will not allow it to continue, and you will be punished. These are the kind of conversations that we wish we didn't have to have, but we do. Our children are depending on us, and we need to come through on their behalf. I want to say thank you once again to everyone who called and everyone who texted and everyone who joined the conversation. October is National Youth Month observance. It's also Cancer Awareness Month. On this 31st day of October, we've been talking about child abuse, and we've been really raw, really open, really honest about some of the changes that we need to see. Detection and reporting systems have to be increased and strengthened. Frontline defense, strengthened survivor services. Our justice system needs work. Family support and community education, right? And better data and coordinated governance, because it's not just about self-diagnosis. We have to bring this epidemic, this crisis, to a halt in our country if we want to see the future preserved. Thank you so very much for listening, for tuning in. This has been Guardian Radio Today with Robin Lyons and my guests, Richette Presenti and Kavita Gary Kaparthi. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you so much for having us.
2 hours went so fast
It
with
did,
you.
too
I
fast.
appreciate you. And I'm not going to charge you for spending this time with me. I normally charge a consultation fee when I talk this much, but today it's been free. Thank you for listening. Have a great weekend, everyone. And listen, if you're going to say something, test it against 3 things. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary?
Yes.
If it's not all of those things, then keep it to yourself. All right? When we talk, let's talk sense. Have a good day.
Someone to look up to. I never found anyone who fulfilled my needs. A lonely place And so I learned to depend on